Hey guys, what's going on? No one's here yet. We're gonna give this a shot. I guess I've not really done a ton of these. I have a little Patreon thing I'm doing, but I was going through some film the other day. I guess I don't know, just because I thought it was fun, and I ended up on the 2012 Packers victory over the Cardinals in week nine, I believe. And so that it was just kind of a fun play. I thought it was and plus a touchdown to Tom Crabtree, and Tom Crabtree's great. Everyone loves Tom Crabtree, probably. I thought it was fun just because, again, fun touchdown, but also there's a lot of moving pieces, and also it seemed kind of like something that we may see this year. I can see just with the pieces that we have. So I broke this down on Twitter yesterday, 2 days ago, something like that. But those things are quick, relatively quick clip. And so I want to take a little more time to kind of do that. And so I'm going to bring this up, if I can share this, because I am a smart person who knows how to use technology. All right. So here's what we have. I've got a banner. There we go. All right. I like to show the context because it informs a lot of things. It doesn't necessarily do it here, I guess, but I'm doing it anyway, more out of habit, I guess, than anything else. But it's 2nd and 4. There's 7 seconds remaining in the third. Packers leading 24-17. So that's the basics here. And again, I'm just going to kind of hide this because it's taking up a decent portion of the bottom. But the context here is not overly important. So I'm just going to go ahead and hide this. But again, we're going to look through this, and then I'm going to talk for a little bit just about like what this could look like this coming year. I've got some drawings. I've got drawings, guys, and we're just going to we're going to look at those real quick. So before the snap, first of all, you got this backfield back here. This is Crabtree right here is the up back. And you also have the running back here. I've got this over here. I should probably switch this screen, but I will not. So I'm just going to be staring off to the side like a weird person. You've got him back here. So you've got this kind of weird kind of full backfield. Then two and one setting here. And you've got a double high. So we got the 2 high, and I'm going to look at this a little bit more. So if we're looking at just kind of pre-snap read, you got a 2 high, but you also have this guy sneaking up. So you have him here. Now, generally speaking, this is not the rule all the time, but generally speaking, if you've got a guy kind of squared up over, when you're looking that dude in the eye, it's a man coverage key. Now, again, not that it's always going to be man coverage, and there's 1,000 different kinds of coverage. It's a very simplistic way to look at it, but that's generally a key. So this looks like kind of man, two high, say cover 2 man, but this guy's kind of creeping in here. So even pre-snap, what this looks like is you have an uncovered man on the outside, but you're going against 2 high. And so that could tell you a couple different things, right? If he's uncovered and he's pushing up, as we're going to look at in a second here. So you got these 2 guys on this guy on the corners there here. And then if we look at the routes, so I've got this line here. When you think of cover 2, if you think of, 2 high, cover 3, whatever, you're speaking of those back zones, essentially the deep zones. So you've got this split here. And so just imagine an imaginary line. So this guy's responsible for this side. If this is a 2 high shell, this guy's responsible for this side, which is, that's how it goes. So now if we look at where the routes are going to go, which is here, you've got Crabtree blocking up here, you've got a vertical pusher here, and you've got a vertical pusher here. So you likely say, okay, we know what Crabtree's going to do. You've got this guy here, and he's going to be, taking over at least the capper on that one there. And this guy is going to be the same over here. We've got a vertical pushing her up, but the way this guy's kind of pushing and leaning in, that means this dude's uncovered, which means the safety's likely picking that up. So right off the bat, before anything else happens, you're looking at this pre-snap. Before anything else happens, you assume this guy is probably falling off over here. Because if you look, I mean, it's not compressed formation, it's not condensed, it's not anything. So if you think of, okay, if this guy does just even take a step in just to fake that at the snap, there's no one else to pick this up. So it's got to be on the safety. So if you assume he's picking up vertical, that means you've got Crabtree right up the middle right here, who's going to kind of fake this block. And this is something we've seen some of this last year, and I'll talk about that in a second. So it shouldn't look all that unfamiliar, I guess. But you are going to have, he's kind of releasing up there. So you already look like you're kind of manufacturing space. You've got 2 high look. You've got a guy sneaking. You've got this guy likely taking vertical. So you assume you've got room in the middle. So we'll roll it, and we can see that's exactly what happens. Okay, first of all, play action. Pulls everyone up, pulls up these linebackers, pulls up that man there. That's the big guy. That's the guy that was over here that was uncovered. And then again, you can see Rodgers faking, and he's looking down the middle of the field. Now, generally, if you're reading a defense, a lot of times guys will start by looking down the middle of the field. It kind of, not only does it help kind of deceive the defense, it also kind of sets what the quarterback's looking at. You're looking and you're seeing that middle, so you're seeing those linebackers, you're seeing those safeties, and you're also getting the peripheral vision there as well to kind of set, okay, what did I read pre-snap? And then you get that immediate post-snap read. Does that fit with what I thought was going to happen? Then how does that inform stuff going forward? So he's looking down the field, straight down the field. This guy's coming, or at least, feigning in, like he's at least pinching the edge there. And then this guy here is rolling over. To go along with that then, to even more complicate things for the defense, this guy is in the process of dumping off into a shallow zone, kind of a flat zone there, which means with that vertical pushing route, this guy right here is the only man back. So he's picking up this vertical route. So what you have is a nice green space in the middle, which is exactly where Crabtree is running to. So he gets picked up by a linebacker, but the linebacker has been sucked up by play action. And Rodgers just throws over the top and ends up being, I believe, a 73-yard touchdown. 73-yard touchdown. So we've got that. Now, I did want to bring up one other play that I did not draw anything on because I decided to show this 30 seconds before I went live because, again, I'm a smart person. But it's something that should be relatively familiar if you've read anything I've written and also if you followed what the Packers have been doing over the past couple of years. This is the very first that I remember seeing. It's a bit of a misnomer. It was dubbed the cheese wheel by a follower of mine, and so I started calling it that. It's not technically a wheel. It's more just like a vertical release. But this is the first time I remember them using this. This was last year. This was the Denver game. So this is Vitale is the up back and Jones is the back. And they ran this, or variation of this, quite a bit throughout the course of the year. And I think this is the biggest they hit on it. But I'm going to show this, and then we'll kind of talk about, a couple things for this next year. So we've got, there we go. Sorry. So he motions in. Vitale looks like he's faking here. Now there's a couple things going on here. It looks like a run. They're running play action, and Vitale looks like he's going to hit this home block, which draws him up. And you had that little motion ahead of time that kind of showed man, kind of indicated a little bit of man coverage, which helps him out a lot. Which means likely picking up. Actually, I don't think this is a linebacker. I think this is a safety, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, safety comes up, looks to meet Vitale in the hole. Vitale runs through, and then to combine that, this is MVS on the edge, which if you don't know me, big MVS guy, but you get that speed. I mean, just the speed of MVS helps clear out the edge. And so all they're doing at this point is you're faking this run. I believe that Packers did something like this early in this game or the last game, almost like the exact same look, and then ran with Vitale as a lead. So you're looking for that. And instead of meeting him in the hole, Vitale releases up the side. So now he releases up the side with, that's 47. That's a safety. Releases up the edge where this is all cleared out here. And then MVS has cleared this. So he's clear that's a single high safety. MVS has run across or is running towards him, takes this guy with him, and then you simply just run by the guy. So again, this is like somewhat similar to what we just saw with Crabtree. Same general idea, except you're attacking a different part of the field. With Crabtree, it's almost, I was thinking of it as like ISO in basketball, right? If you look at, I'll just pull that up again. If you look at what the other routes are on this, which here, you're just spreading everyone out and letting this guy cook. Like if this was, I don't know, James Harden does a lot of ISO, I guess, like annoyingly so, but that's the look of like James Harden. Everyone just kind of sits on the edges. You're sitting out 3-point lines and you're letting this guy cook and let him and just letting him work. So it's like that, except there's some deception in here as well. And so you're kind of spreading this out here and then you're just running him right up the middle. Same basic idea, again, as a Vitale thing, except the Vitale, you're attacking the edges. You're clearing out the edge. You're hitting that edge with, again, not a vertical, or not a wheel route, but a vertical. And look, Packer Ranter. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I'm very nervous about all this. Anyway, so that's the concept. That's just something that came up that I looked at. And then as I was watching that going, that was cool. That was a touchdown to Crabtree. You start digging in, you see all the moving pieces, you see exactly what they're trying to accomplish and how they work that into that. And that immediately reminded me of the cheese wheel, that Vitale concept from last year. So now if you picture something like this, like maybe not exactly this same setup. Maybe you got, another guy compressed in here, a little tighter, or maybe spread. I don't know. LaFleur likes him some spread offense as well. Just different personnel. And you've got the up back is DeGuara, I guess. If DeGuara's in, or I don't know, Sternberger, I guess, or Tanyan, like really anyone that you can fake as a lead blocker. I mean, the trick is really like you don't even have to be necessarily a good lead blocker. You have to be a willing lead blocker that they have to at least respect that somewhat to where they don't think, oh, that this, I don't need to worry about what this guy's blocking, which I guess based on where Sternberger was out of the backfield last year, maybe not the best way to go. But if you get someone who's at least competent, like I think Tanyan's competent back there, depending on DeGuara, if you feel like, AJ Dillon could fake that or something, that'd be a really cool package. And then you just kind of fake this same exact thing. You run that power, you get that kind of dual backfield, maybe an offset eye or something, because LaFleur likes him some stuff under center. I think 41% of their snaps came from under center last year, and I assume that's going to go up this year. So if you get like an I formation, offset I, something like that, as long as you have an up back that they have to respect, you could run something like this. And I think the Packers have the personnel to do that. And so, I mean, the trick, all you're trying to do, you're doing something that looks like a run that's not, and you need the personnel to do that. And I think based on who the Packers have, and we just saw the Vitale thing, which was the, MVS on the edge, so you got that speed. You can think of 1,000 different ways to dress this up. You get MVS on the side, on the edge, kind of, pushing up again. You open up that edge. You run some jet sweep with Irvin or EQ or something like that to kind of get them moving one way, and then run that little fake the other side as the defense is kind of shifting over this way to kind of account for that jet sweep stuff. There's a bunch of different ways you can go about it. We're going to see, I mean, I almost guarantee you, we're going to see, just based on what we saw last year with as many times as they ran that cheese wheel to Vitale, and the personnel they have now, I didn't really necessarily have a huge issue with Vitale, but I think the personnel they have could lend itself to be more dynamic than it was last year. And you could run this with, again, DeGuara or Tanyan. Either of those guys, I think, are better receivers, more dynamic players than Vitale was. So we're certainly going to see something to this next year. I hope we see something like this. I love the release through the line. We saw Vitale kind of up the seam. I love this kind of attacking the middle here as well. So it's fun seeing something from 8 years ago, and then just thinking, oh, hey, they could run this like, and say not tomorrow, but in 2 days, I guess they could run this in 2 days, and it would look every bit as good. So that's essentially what I wanted to cover. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna throw a little shameless self-promotion down here. I do some live streams, going to be doing them every Wednesday over on Patreon during the year. I'm going to try to do some here still as well, maybe 15, 20 minutes, something like that, every other week. I'm not entirely sure, but I do have a Patreon where I'm kind of doing this hopefully every Wednesday. So if you're interested in that, hey, it's on the crawl. That's all for me from the breakdown stuff. I saw a couple comments come in. Thank you guys for the comments. If anyone has any questions or anything else they want to talk about for a couple minutes, I am more than happy to stick around and awkwardly sit in my chair and drink. But if not, I guess we can say goodnight, and hopefully we'll do this again at some point. And, if there's anything that you guys are curious about in season, obviously in season, my plan is to, look at the previous week's game, or if I have time, which, who has time, to look at some stuff from the upcoming opponent, kind of doing the same thing, things to look out for, something of that nature. So I'm not sure if that's going to work out, but if it does, I'll be putting it here, I guess. So, hey, I guess that's it for me, guys. Thanks for the handful of you that were watching this. I hope you found this, fun and informative. I don't know how to sign this off, but thanks, guys, and hope to see you again at some point, I guess.